Alright, so what's poppin', everybody? It's your man, Young Ida Costello, back again with another video. And today's video is gonna be another album review, but today's album review is gonna be on Travis Scott, Birds in the Trap, Sing McKnight. Now this was an album that's been pushed back so much that I didn't know when it came out, and I didn't know that if it really came out when it said that it was gonna come out. I'ma keep it real, I'ma keep it 100. Al Faro, I loved. Days Before Rodeo, I loved. Rodeo, I thought was cool. But even after hearing all those three dope albums, in my opinion, I still wasn't really looking forward to Birds as much as everybody else was. I was sort of, again, like, if he drops it, then that'll be cool. But I'm not really checking for it at the moment. And I will say that even though I like this album, even though I like this Birds album, I still could have done without it. I'll say that, like, through the Birds process, when it comes to Al Faro, Rodeo, and Days Before Rodeo, it seems like both albums, all four albums, are all in the same headspace. Like, there's not really much growth. I feel like the most growth was between the Rodeo album, when in Rodeo there was like crisper sounds and crisper mastering and crisper mixing. But it seems like from this album, he sort of takes a step back. But even though he takes a step back, it's still not a bad album, and the sounds still aren't bad at all. The beats, just like Rodeo, are very electronic, very muddy, very watery, very glossy too at times. So I mean, like, if you're listening to this, if you're riding around in the car, just going someplace, you can use this as ambient music to really set any tone of what's going on through your day. I thought that a lot of the songs in Birds kind of flowed together. There were some songs here and there that just kind of came and went and just kind of was just dropped in there, just dropped in the middle of there, like, here you go. But I will say that there's a lot of the songs that just come together and they feel like one big song. Like, when I first started listening to the album, the first three songs all sound like one song. And that's not a bad thing at all. I mean, they both sound cool to me. Like in the ends, I like that Andre 3000 verse. That Andre 3000 verse was dope. But then I like how on the end of Ends, it kind of, the beat switches up and it goes into this nice little melody. I like that. And then it goes right back into Way Back. And then Way Back is cool too. I mean, Kid Cudi is cool. Kid Cudi is all that. But I mean, my God, fam. This man is always hopping on tracks ever since that Speeding Bullet to Heaven. Speeding Bullet to Heaven. Ever since that, he's always been on tracks like So when he was just singing in the background doing that, I was like, oh God, like, this reminds me of Speeding Bullet to Heaven. But then when it went through to the next song, which is Through the Late Night, yo, you got a real dose of Kid Cudi in that song, because the whole song is pretty much and I'm gonna keep it real. Even though the song is still tolerable, yo, shut the fuck up. Like, stop doing that shit in songs, bro. Stop it, goddammit, stop. But a nice little highlight of that song, though, is when, like, Kid Cudi has his verse, and his verse is pretty okay. But then when Travis Scott comes in, the beat switches up just a little bit, and the beat stops, and then he comes through with a day and night flow, actually dropping some day and night bars. Like, if you guys don't remember, Kid Cudi dropped the song, like, what, back in 2007, 2008, maybe 09, where the song Day and Night, that was a freaking hit. Like, yo, I remember that in 6th grade like it was yesterday. So Travis Scott was doing that flow, and I think that he pulled it off perfectly. I thought that that was dope. That was a big highlight on the album. Now, one of my favorite songs has to be Coordinate, except that freaking Black Youngsta interlude where he starts the track just talking all kinds of shit. Like, I could have definitely done without that. And yeah, everybody's saying, oh, the choruses and all that, Yo, listen to yourself here, dog. Like, songwriting, I don't know if you can really go into a Travis Scott project and expect the most perfect songwriting. I go into Travis Scott and look for perfect production and beat switch ups. That's pretty much it. And some good flows on top of that. And when it comes to Travis Scott, I don't really care if the flows make sense. As long as the lyrics and the words sound fine, I'm not tripping. Like, it doesn't have to make sense to me. I really don't care. Like, why. But I actually love Coordinate. I actually like the chorus on Coordinate. I like the beat. Now, as far as features, there were some pretty okay features. The Black Youngster feature, like I said, was not needed. Like I said before, the Andre 3000 feature was dope. But then we had some unknown feature from some guy named Nav. I don't know who that is. I heard he was a Toronto rapper, so I mean, like, hey, it sounded cool. It sounded a little bit like Sway Lee going off of a Drake flow, but it wasn't that bad. Like, that flow wasn't bad at all. Like, it wasn't all that bad. It was tolerable on the song. Like, when you hear Travis Scott, especially since the Rodeo days, the days before Rodeo and the Al Pharaoh, those were tracks where he would be doing most of the voices or doing most of the vocal work on the majority of those tracks. But for Rodeo and Birds, you're pretty much gonna find him sampling all kinds of different sounds. Hey, that's just how he's moved, and I think that it's fine. And in Biebs in the Trap, I really like the beat. The beat is really glossy. It's really like high fashion kinda. It's really fancy. It's like a track you play when you first get your little car, you first get your little bit of money, and you balling for a little bit, so you throw that on and you just vibing out to it. I think that song is dope in my opinion. But along the lines of favorite songs, my two favorite songs have to be SDP and Goosebumps. Yo, SDP, when I first saw the track listing and I saw SDP featuring Cassie, I was like, Cassie? The fuck is she gonna be doing? But her vocals in the song were pretty good. And then I like Travis Scott's vocals on top of that. I like how it was nice and short, straight to the point. I love the beat though. The beat really just carries the song, obviously. Like, the beat is perfect on this song. So I really love that song. And Goosebumps. Now, when it goes between SDP and Goosebumps, sometimes I'd be like, nah, SDP's better than Goosebumps. But then I listen to Goosebumps and I'd be like, god damn, did you hear that Kendrick verse? Man, hell no. Goosebumps is way better than SDP. Goosebumps is a song that you just gotta wow out to. Like, from the start of the song, the little vibrating beat going through it, and then it breaks off into the chorus is fantastic. And, oh my god, that Kendrick Lamar verse, my good man, absolutely, positively, fire. It's like every time Kendrick Lamar is featured on a song, he's like, yo, I'm going to murder this dude. This man hit a high note in the middle of his feature. A high note. That was dope. One of the best highlights of this album by far. And then we also have a 21 Savage feature, and yo, I'm not gonna lie, I don't care what you guys think about 21 Savage. 21 Savage is one of those guys that I could definitely turn up to. Like, whenever I hear that No Heart beat drop, I get closer and closer to tattooing that knife on my forehead, I promise you. But I will say that his feature on this song was kind of lackluster. Nothing all that. His flow was just bleh. But as for like, there's only like one song that I really don't like, and that song is Sweet Sweet. Like, I don't like Sweet Sweet at all. Like, not one bit. I don't like it. But I will say that the good thing about Sweet Sweet is, like, when you play it in the car, the freaking drums, man, the bass and the production on that song is great. But the vocal work on that song is god awful in my opinion. I just don't like it. But if it's playing in the car, I could tolerate it. But if it's like, if I'm like playing it on my computer or something, yo, I gotta change it, like, off top. In First Take, that man Bryson Tiller lays down some very heartfelt bars, some singer bars. Now, I never really went through the Bryson Tiller lane. I need to go ahead and check out Trap Soul. Other than that, I will say that the album ends off good. Ends off with 3 good songs in my opinion, with Wonderful, Pick Up the Phone, and Lose. I like those tracks. So I think that it ends off solid. But as far as what everyone's talking about, is it better than Rodeo? Is Birds better than Rodeo? No, I don't think that Birds is better than Rodeo. But in my opinion, I don't even think Rodeo is better than Days Before Rodeo. I thought that Days Before Rodeo was probably like one of his best albums he's ever put out. But if you look at every single album, they're all like kind of the same. They're all like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4s of each other. So like, there's not much different happening in every album, except for Travis just sampling different Atlanta sounds. So if I was to grade this, I'd have to give this a solid 7. What about you guys? How do you guys like this album? What rating would you guys give this album? Put that in the comment section down below. I really do appreciate you guys for watching, but without further ado, your boy Chris gotta get out of here, man. Oh man, I'm about to hit up the Wendy's and grub. But I just gotta say, hey, blessings, blessings, blessings. The Instagrams and the Twitters has been flowing through the screen this whole time, so check those out. It's all at Chris Takanashi. And yet again, I just have to say, hey, Chris, out.